F9 is the ninth movie in the Fast Saga and the 10th movie overall in the franchise when you include Hobbs and Shaw, the spin off that had The Rock and Jason Statham from a few years ago. And it's just crazy to think that where the franchise has come from being a movie about street racers in LA that were robbing big rigs of DVD players and sound systems to now, 10 movies, an animated series, theme park rides, and there's no signs of slowing down. And this sense of having to constantly, go bigger and improve and just continue to take it to the next level is really felt strongly here in F9. Like you can tell that there was a lot of pressure on them to just keep it up as far as like, okay, what's the craziest thing we can do now? We did a submarine in 8. Let's go. This movie makes the decision to focus a lot on the Toretto family history and family drama. It added John Cena to the cast as Jacob, who is like Dom's super estranged brother, and you kind of get flashbacks and hints to that throughout the movie as well. In scenes that I actually thought were some of the best, I really enjoyed the way they kind of played up the melodrama of it, and I really enjoyed the performances of the actors playing the young Dom and Jacob. It was just, it was a lot of fun, and fun is a key word when it comes to talking about these movies, because I think people kind of know exactly what to expect now when you go see a Fast movie. It's kind of sort of become like a street racing Mission Impossible franchise is kind of the best thing I can compare it to in terms of like every movie is getting crazier. Every movie is a bigger mission and bigger stakes and bigger stunts. And here they're not like the action and the set pieces aren't as constant as some of the other movies, particularly like Fast 5 and 7, where it felt like, it was relentless. Like there was maybe a couple minutes here and there to stop, but there was like fights or big set pieces every basically 10 minutes, it felt like. This, you get the giant set pieces, and the sequences are long and they're massive and they're a lot of fun. They're really well staged by Justin Lin, who has directed, I believe, 5 of these movies now and will reportedly probably direct 10 and 11 as well, which they are saying currently will put a bow on the main saga and lead to, spin-offs and whatever else they want to do, but we'll see if they stick to it. But Justin Lin is great at these set pieces. He understands exactly how to stage them, how to set them, but the fact that they're few and further between than previous movies really kind of exposes this movie's biggest flaw, and it's that this is the first movie in the franchise since Too Fast, Too Furious that hasn't had Chris Morgan writing. Um, and it's odd because you wouldn't think of writing as like a huge part of the Fast and the Furious movies, but in a lot of subtle ways, like throughout the time watching this, I definitely noticed like the humor's a little bit like flatter, and like the melodrama is a little bit more like melodramatic. Like I don't know really how I want to phrase that, but like you kind of like going into each movie that you're basically watching like supercharged soap operas in terms of like the drama, the way characters supposedly die, come back. Letty had amnesia. Like there's always these tropes, these like soap opera tropes. And here with the family drama between Dominic and Jacob was a really good chance to explore both of the two of them just as characters. It was a great way to provide a little bit more development and add a little bit more to Dom. And instead, it just kind of felt like we watched a younger Dom that was already fully formed to what we've seen in all of these movies now. Like, it didn't really feel like we were watching what made him the family-oriented Dominic Toretto that he is now. And with Jacob, it's unfortunate because you don't really get much of anything with him. Like, there's a couple throwaway mentions of him being, like, passive and, like, the weak link and, like, stuff like that. And then, as an adult, he's John Cena, and he has this horrible vendetta against Dom and, by proxy, the crew. And it's unfortunate because there aren't really like there's not a lot there for John Cena to do for the character. At the same time, these are all nitpicks. I love these movies. I love watching to see how ridiculous they're going to get. Minor spoilers here, but if you've seen the preview, you've definitely probably seen this. But they end up in space. Like they strap a jet engine onto a Fiero and shoot Ludacris and Tyreese out into space to like help save the day. And the way they did it, like I knew it was coming, and the way they handled it and the way they built up to it, I'm kind of convinced that like anything is possible now. Like they've talked about, there's been rumors that they want to do a Jurassic World crossover with the Fast and the Furious. I heard Tyreese say he wants a Transformers crossover. Like Universal wants to just put the Fast and Furious in as many things as they can, and that's smart because it's their biggest franchise now at this point. But watching how they executed the space stuff has me fully convinced that literally anything is possible here. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's hilarious. It plays off of a long running joke throughout the movie that I thought was one of the best bits, which is Tyrese basically says like, "Hey, you guys noticed that like we never ever get hurt? Like we might be invincible, guys." And it's like a nice little meta commentary. It goes on. They reference it a couple too many times and just keep going back to it after like every set piece, and you're kind of just like, okay, we get it. Like you're doing ridiculous things. Like don't keep pointing this out. Like just let us enjoy the big dumb fun ride. But I really liked that. I thought, of course, the main cast is all very strong. They kind of like they split them up and have like side missions basically for everyone, which gives them all a little bit more like spotlight, if you will. You get, of course, Han is back. Sun Kang is back as Han, and his story is a little convoluted and again soap opera esque, but also like it was just really cool to have him back in the main cast. Um, I really, really overall really enjoyed it. It was the type of movie going experience that was definitely missed over the last year. I saw it in IMAX with my fiance and some friends, and suffice to say, like as soon as it was over, we were like, okay, so like 10 can come out now. Like we're ready for 10. Like, and this is one of the only franchises I can think of that consistently has that effect on me personally, where it's like, okay, well this one just ended, but like now like I'm ready to see what they go back to the drawing board and come up with next. One last thing too that I think was kind of noticeable here was like I said to someone afterwards that I thought that this movie had a Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham sized hole in it. And that's not to say like the main cast isn't good and the action isn't good and everything, but like this movie to me is a little bit below 8 in terms of like how I was able to enjoy it. And when I really thought about it, the reason why it hit me that way is because 8 has a couple of like my favorite sequences in the whole franchise, and it's the prison break with Hobbs and Shaw, and then Shaw and his brother on the plane, on Cypher's plane in 8, getting the baby, getting Dominic's baby. Like those are some of the most memorable sequences to me, and it involves those guys. So it doesn't make the mistake that Fate of the Furious made, where they were kind of like trying to not subtly groom Scott Eastwood's character to be the new Paul Walker, to be the new Brian. I was glad they didn't go that route again. I think that they could probably bring that character back at some point, but like just not as like a glaringly obvious attempt to shoehorn him into the main cast, if you will. Overall, though, this is exactly what you would want from a Fast movie. Some of the sequences here had all of us laughing in disbelief at the absurdity of it, but it was never laughing at it because we weren't enjoying it or because we thought it was stupid. It's just enjoying watching a series that knows exactly what it is, just fully continue to embrace going as far off the rails as possible. I would highly recommend seeing this in a theater if you can, and if you would like to. IMAX is big, loud, dumb fun, and I mean that's pretty much all you can ask for when it comes to these movies now. I would probably give this a B. I think it's, it's not on par with like my top movies in the franchise, but it's a very fun movie that adds a lot of interesting pieces. And like more so, I'm more interested to see, what happens now going forward with Han returning. And then also, with John Cena, if they decide to bring Jacob Toretto back into it, I'm just really like, if they stick to 10 and 11 being the last two in the main franchise, like all bets are off. Like I'm anticipating like just absolutely insane returns and reveals and situations. Like I don't even know what to expect. I have some thoughts, but that's for another time. If you have seen the movie yet, drop your thoughts below in the comments, or if you have any like guesses or things that you want to see as far as like 10 and 11, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will be back soon.